You're listening to the ADHD and Me podcast. I'm Joe.
And I'm Jen, and we're so excited to share the strategies we've learned while navigating life as neurodivergents.
Each week, we'll discuss topics such as relationships, careers, mental health, and a lot more.
You'll get two unique perspectives on life's challenges, successes, and everything in between.
So without further ado, here's this week's episode. Welcome back to the ADHD and Me podcast. My name's Joe.
And I'm Jen.
And you're probably wondering by now why you're not seeing the episode title, Your Life as a Video Game, Part 3. Yeah. Well, that was what we expected to do this week.
But life happened.
Life happened. Our daughter was sick. She's been home from school.
Poor baby.
Things have been kind of thrown upside down. So yes. In order to not leave you with nothing to listen to, we wanted to still give you an episode.
Q&A style.
Yeah, we're gonna make a Q&A style episode. 5 questions
about us,
about our relationship,
ADHD,
about OCPD.
Yeah.
So let's just jump right into it.
Okay.
All right. Question number 1. What about our partner's condition negatively affected us the most, and how did they change for the better? I'm gonna throw that question to you first.
Of course.
Sorry.
All right. So because of his OCPD, there were certain things. I think the majority of the most harmful part of it was the parent-child dynamic was the most harmful for me. I think feeling as though I was unnecessary. I wasn't an adult. I wasn't on his level. I felt unintelligent, and I felt kind of like this weird thing where I was like, am I going to get scolded? Am I going to get yelled at? Don't yell at me. It was just very much I couldn't even buy you a gift without you being I remember buying you joggers and being so excited to get him joggers and he was not having it because I spent money. And so that was I thought it was a weird thing. It was oh, I thought this is a good thing.
Yeah, I think with the OCPD, since one of the OCPD tendencies is unwilling to delegate tasks, and that's one thing that creeps up on you, and you don't realize that all of a sudden you're trying to do it all, and you're trying to take control, and you're trying to make sure that they do it the way you want it to be done, and that it's got to be done at this time, and there can't be any surprises.
Yeah, it's isolating though, because it's just almost as if everything that I do is wrong, and I can't even try. And if I did try, it would be pointless. But I think that the second question was,
how did it change for the better?
How to change for the better. So I've seen a huge change in him after him realizing, what I have and what he has. So in the way that he communicates, I no longer feel like a child. I no longer feel like I'm unnecessary in this household and that I don't bring anything to the table. I feel like he treats me with respect and speaks to me as though I'm right here. We're right at eye level, and I'm not, this little distracted peon, go in the corner and let daddy handle the real big boy business. It's just Peaky Blinders, and I'm just okay.
That was a good, I don't know, impression.
Yeah, thank you. But that's just how it felt. Just oh, these women these days trying to have brains. It was like that. But now it's oh, we're in this together. We're partners. I work, he works. And it's I'm not saying that I guess it was a factor that I wasn't working at the time. So it was also a thing where it was just if you have ADHD, right, and you're not working, and your partner has the parent-child dynamic, you feel even more like a child, if that makes sense, if you aren't bringing anything to the table financially, right? Because it's oh, excuse me, husband, can I buy a brassiere? And then he's no brassiere for you. No brassiere for you. And I'm oh, dang it. And it feels even more like parent-child. That's what it back then. Now it's listen, dude, I can get my own brassiere, okay? That's it. So it's it's fine. But yeah, no, you've changed a lot and just more patient and understanding. And I think the therapy really helped with that. You talking to someone and figuring out how to communicate with the likes of me.
That was a good answer.
That was long. Sorry.
No. I'll go. So my answer about this is with ADHD,
Yeah.
before I knew it was ADHD, I took everything as a personal offense. I took things as, I think, just like in
what?
the ADHD, no, personal offense meaning like you forgot to do something that I asked like 3 times about. Like, I think the book, the ADHD marriage book, really made it like clear to me that like you forgetting something, you losing something, you spacing out and not hearing the last 2-3 minutes of conversation
Yeah.
is not something you can help but do. Like it's not something that you're
Not doing it on purpose.
Yeah, you're not doing it on purpose. And I think that was a huge like took off a lot of blinders.
You thought I did it on purpose.
I think it just felt like it's weird. I don't think I ever actively said in my head, "Wow, she's doing this on purpose." But it was just like, "Oh, why is
the gall of this woman?"
Yeah, like why is she doing it this way? And then for me, because of my OCPD, I would then ramp up okay, well, I asked her already to unload the dishwasher twice. I'm now just going to do it. Instead of communicating and saying like, hey, remember I asked you to do the dishwasher, are you planning on doing it? But not in like a micromanagey way, but like sometimes with an ADHD person, they do actually genuinely need to be reminded of something that was discussed early on. But it's got to be done in a way that's not like I'm a micromanager boss, you know?
Yeah. But like in that conversation that we had about the dishwasher, I remember having this conversation with you where I was like, well, if I really sit and think about it, the reason why I don't do it is because there's nowhere to put everything. And so I would, at the time, right, our cabinets and drawers were so packed to the gills that I would have to perform a full like Tetris game in order to fit one cup or one mug, right?
Yeah.
And so with my brain, I was like, it's going to take me so long just to put everything away, because now I'm like, well, now I got to reorganize all the cups, all the mugs, all these things. And I'm just like, I don't have time for that. Like, especially after a work day where I'm just like on complete empty.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now it's much easier. I think we had a roadblock that we weren't aware of. And the roadblock wasn't, oh, Jen's not unloading the dishwasher. The roadblock was we're hoarders and we have too much stuff. Therefore, emptying the dishwasher became a massive undertaking for me versus if we had a spot to put the stuff.
And another example of how things changed for the better, you know, I think me and you at one point just sat down and said, like, I'm responsible for X, you're responsible for Y.
Yeah.
And you better not encroach, meaning me, you better not try to, like, do my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that was, like, a practice in, like, discipline and not needing to control. It's like, okay, I am only responsible for doing the laundry. Jen's responsible for folding the laundry. I'm not going to go encroach in her thing. If she asks me for help, of course I will do it. But I'm not going to try to bulldoze and take charge. And so it was just all having these conversations up front.
Yeah.
Paired with understanding how each other works was a huge improvement.
Yeah. I think finding out each other's like strengths and weaknesses with household chores is a huge thing. Because like if he was just like, you're in charge of the dishes, I cannot touch those things. It grosses me out. But I think it's just like, okay, well, I'm really good at folding, hanging, putting everything away, organizing, and then like donating what we need to donate, and just like, you know, maintaining the cleanliness of the house, whereas, you know, he has other areas that he does, and that's fine. Like, it's okay to not have like the societal norm, because like we're not in the 50s anymore, and it's not like oh, like a man can't do the dishes. He can, and I can do other things, and we're all in this together.
So question number 2, which I will now go first, since I made you go first. But question number 2 is...
Controlling already.
Listen, for the podcast, someone's got to take the reins, okay? What is something that we like about each other's condition, and how does it help? So your condition, ADHD, really helps bring me out of my shell, because an ADHD person loves to try something new. I like routine. So you're always looking to do something new, which kind of forces me to get out of my shell. And 9 out of 10 times, the thing that you want to do, and I'm kind of like groaning along until the actual thing happens. 9 out of 10 times, I actually enjoy it. And that even goes with like vacation. So like you'll hyperfixate on vacation planning, but you'll find the best spots. That it was with food growing up, remember? Like you wanted to try all these food spots. I liked to stick with my status quo food. I discovered so many great foods. So I think, that's just one. There's probably a bunch of others I can think of, but I don't want to spend the whole podcast. But I think
you can talk about me and nice things.
No, I think that, not to jump ahead to a later question, but I think you needing variety and needing newness has kept our relationship very fresh in new and many different areas.
Yeah. It's like he's married to a different girl every day. It's like, who do I have today? Veronica? Hello, Veronica. This is unhinged, by the way. Our daughter's been sick.
Unhinged.
So if it's a little weird, you know what? Come along for the ride. It's fine.
You're getting the unfiltered.
This is Coyotes After Dark.
So what is something that you like about my condition, and how does it help you?
Oh, I love your condition. He's like a superhuman. It's like I went to the store and was like, I want that robot. And I want to take him home. That's my husband. And
Powered me on.
Yeah, and they just like put on a human skin.
We're not far off from that.
No, I think without him, I wouldn't have order. I wouldn't have structure. I wouldn't have the inspiration to be better in my job or in like the household. When it comes to productivity, it's just like he's a hero. He's my role model in the house. And I'm like, sometimes it's like a pain in the butt. I'm like, come on, you're doing too much.
You're showing off.
You're showing off.
Is there
like
cameras?
As if there's cameras. Like what's that movie?
Oh, like
the Truman Show. It's like he's like, oh, I got to do it for my fans. Like no one's looking at you on a Sunday. Come on, just sit down. No, like for example, I a long time ago wanted to get into this like fasting and keto, and he was just like, I'm down. And he's just like stuck to it and did it with me, or like 75 hard challenge. I was like, do you want to do this with me? He's like, yeah. Because it's like anything that has to do with structure and order and like health and wellness.
When Jen was like last summer, she was like, do you want to do the 70 hard thing where you have to follow these 8 different rules
for 75
days? And I'm like, oh, structure and routine?
Meanwhile, anyone else would be like, absolutely not.
Sign me up.
I don't want that. But he encourages me, and like I'm not like him at all. So like without him being so opposite, I think you'd find me, I don't know, talking to a raccoon in a dumpster somewhere. I'm playing poker with the freaking raccoons.
Oh my gosh. That's really funny. This is a joint question, I think, this third one. So we can kind of answer it together.
Yeah.
How did we do conflict in the marriage before? And how do we do conflict now? Conflict before for me was no conflict. It was until it bursted into a fireworks of conflict.
Okay. To you, conflict is like the big fireworks, but conflict is also the passive aggression, the snide remarks. It's like very subtle little like mini conflicts, and then you have like the bigger conflict. So you did have.
Yeah, because I wasn't used to communicating conflict. So it was a lot of trial and error and a lot of us talking through it, both individually with therapy and couples. But I think it really all comes down to, for me, not only just communication, because everyone's always going to say communication, but also communicating at the right time has been a big thing for me in selecting the right moments of the day to have conversations with Jen.
And not texting.
Which I still struggle a little bit there. But yeah, I think it's timing, and then also timely, meaning like, yeah, you might not be able to do it right in the moment, but do it soon, because you don't also want to let it build up and kind of pile one thing onto each other, because you're just going to burst like a Mentos in a Diet Coke bottle. What about you? Like, do you feel like, I mean, you have been very used to not even just conflict, you're good at communicating your feelings, but have you felt that you, like, from your end, you've had to make any adjustments in the way?
Well, I'm just going to answer the question the way I want to. Is that okay?
Please, I'm
Okay.
curious.
How did we handle conflict before? So he said that he doesn't like to talk about his feelings, right? And I always talk about my feelings. And if something is wrong or amiss, I talk about it then and there. And I like to talk about it in person and not like via text message. But the problem I had was I didn't take a second to breathe. I didn't take a second to like calm down before going into the conflict. It was almost just like immediate, like feel, react. And that's exactly like how I was like growing up. Like my whole household, the conflict was wild. It was like I was walking on eggshells. And if you spoke your feelings, even if they were valid, they were used as a weapon against you. And it's just like, if I did that to you, it's because of you. And it was just a lot of gaslighting. So that trauma with me has stuck, and it was just like I brought that, of course, into my marriage, and it was just like all or nothing, and just very much like I'm going to just feel my feelings and I don't care. And yeah, I was just like what was it, like a bull in a china shop. I just did take no prisoners. And then like after going to therapy and realizing, all of my past traumas and all that, and plus ADHD, I realized with ADHD you have RSD. And so I didn't know that I had that. And should I say what RSD is? Rejection sensitive dysphoria. Now I'm very much just, I still feel things big, right? But I always, and you can let them know if I'm wrong or not, but I always, I always, after the conversation, I'm like, I'm gonna audit myself. How did I handle, like, like when you watch sports, like replays, and they're like, oh, Johnny should have hit to the left, and, Billy should have hit to the right. I was just like, you know what, Jen, you messed up. You didn't do what you're supposed to do, which was like talk calmly and not be so emotional. I'll be like, Joe, and then I'll just like put out my arm.
I was just about to say that. She'll walk into the room like this, and she'll be like,
I give hug, and I'm like, I didn't handle that very well, and I'm very sorry. I should have spoken in a nicer way. I'm just really angry because of this, and
it's very cute.
Yeah, but it's not cute in the moment when I'm feeling the things. But I always now, no matter what, acknowledge if I'm wrong. Sometimes I'm right. Sometimes I'm right, and it's warranted. But sometimes when you're wrong, and you just go up to them and just be like, I'm sorry.
And it's very appreciated on my end because, obviously there's situations where we're both wrong, but the fact that we both can admit it is...
Yeah, and you do the same.
It's a big step.
Yeah.
So we got 2 more questions. And the second to last is, how do we still like each other after 20 years?
How do we still like each other?
So 20 years, March of 2004, we dated. We could probably get into that story another time. Maybe we'll do a fun episode.
What story?
No, I'm just saying our history, our background, how I asked you out, the whole 9 yards.
Oh gosh, no.
Yeah, listen, people
Nobody
might want to
cares about that. If you care about that,
let us know. So how do we still like each other after 20 years?
Well, let's be real. Let's be 100, okay? We did not like each other a few years ago. I want to say 3 years.
Yeah.
So like there are moments, right, when you're with someone for that long. It's not like you always like each other. There's moments when you don't, and that's okay. That's normal. But today, I like him a lot.
I like her a lot. I think nothing is like the movies, right? No relationship is like what you see on
Those are lies.
TVs and movies. It's a lies. I think obviously the big benefits we've talked about in the past are therapy and communication, but we're just quirky and weird sometimes, and we're at a point where it's crazy. Like we do sometimes think of the same like
Like responses to
things, and
we
then
quote the movies,
quote a movie or sing a song, and we'll do it at the same exact time. We'll freak each other out, but it's not like once in a while. It happens often now, and we're just like, get out of my mind.
Yeah, it's funny. It like causes a fight because we're like, get the heck out of here, you freak!
Stop being in my mind right now.
Stop being a freak. But I think it's because we spent a lot of time with each other for so long, and it's kind of like we've morphed into each other almost.
Yeah, like we both understand each other's likes and dislikes.
Yeah.
And we're both more conscious of like when we haven't spent so much time together, we make like an actual effort to come together and
we like miss each other too. Like even I think, when was it? I went to like somebody's house, or I went out somewhere, and he's just like, call me, and I have to like call him on the ride home. The ride home was 5 minutes. I was 5 minutes from the house, and I was like, can't you just wait until I'm home so we could talk?
I guess I could have,
but I think what it comes down to is that we have a great friendship.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like the foundation of us even dating in school. Like we would have a jolly old time, just us together.
We have funny videos.
We have got funny videos that we would make before like vlogging was a thing. Like we would record on the Apple. True. What was it? The Apple photo booth.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And we would just make silly videos and just be just each other's friend, and just like, obviously we're boyfriend or girlfriend, but like we just had a foundation of like, we hang out. We're having fun. We're being silly.
Super silly.
And his sense of humor was why I liked him in the first place. That was his riz. I was just like,
I didn't have much physical riz back then.
He was a diamond in the rough.
She calls me the diamond in the rough.
No, look at him now.
But no, yeah, I agree. I think friendship is like the big foundation, and you gotta be friends, and you also have to develop the romantic side of things, which is our last question.
Mm-hmm.
What is your idea of a perfect date night for your personality? Now, how do you want to answer this? Do you want me to answer what I think the perfect date night is that you would like, or talk about what I would like?
I want to know what you would like, because you don't talk about what you would like. And I feel like it's just like sitting by the fire, like playing Wordle, and like our feet are touching. Ew.
When have I ever talked about touching our feet next to
I
fire?
I picture you in like a robe playing Wordle, and you're just like, let's just gather each other's toes together.
Okay, this has gone off the rails. Due to my routine nature, and my kind of like wanting to, me, like I get the same, once I find the dish I like at the restaurant, I get that dish every time.
Okay.
I really see, or it depends. I think if it's a day date, I love brunch, going to like a brunch with you.
Okay.
And if it's during the day, going to like a nature preserve or something, I do think that's fun. If it's a night date, just like a steak dinner, come home,
love a good steak,
watch a movie. But since I'm not like always looking for something new, like I don't think I really require much more than that.
Low maintenance.
But you like different types of dates, so that's what makes it interesting. So what would be your ideal date? And maybe it's going to change, but what is it now?
Honestly, I like day dates the most. I think they're so fun. Day dates are better.
Night dates? You get tired.
You're tired, and you're just like, I don't know. They don't work for us, I think. I think a day date is just like, we go, like you said, like early in the morning to like a brunch. I would like that. I don't really think there's many good brunch places by us personally. No.
Yeah. But
no.
maybe on a vacation, it's really nice.
Yeah. But like when we like lived in Queens, it was just like a fun adventure to be like, okay, which brunch place are we going to go to nearby? Like, are we going to go to Brooklyn? Are we going to go to Long Island City? And then we would just adventure. I think we would always go on adventures. And I think that was really good for my ADHD. I think here it's like, do you want to do toast or do you want to go to Maureen's kitchen? It's just the same thing over and over. But I would do brunch, and I honestly I agree with the nature preserve. I love that. I love the outdoors, like any like arboretum or like stuff like that. I think going to like, I don't know, this is gonna sound weird. Not a museum. I like museums, but I like, you know, when like there's like these like Long Island like mansions like Ohika Castle, and they have like the Gold Coast tours, historical like mansion tours, like, and they like give you the history of all, like I think we did that once for our anniversary. I really enjoyed it. Just like anything that, I don't know. And the Museum of the Moving Image always has different, that's in Queens, and it's like always has like different like rotating exhibits. So we did like a Mad Men exhibit. There was like a bunch of other things, and I think just stuff like that will like add like knowledge to my brain. I love those. Like I don't care about the movies. I don't care about like going bowling, like, or whatever. I want to just like feed my soul and brain with like an exhibit of some sort. Or even like Broadway plays. I love Broadway plays.
True. Like, yeah, that's for special occasions. I think we love going to Broadway plays. And
I cried at Hamilton.
Yeah. No,
that was great.
It was an experience. Well, that wraps up the 5 questions.
Oh, wow.
So that flew by. We hope you guys enjoyed it. We're gonna get you part 3 of Your Life as a Video Game next week, which is glitches, quick saves, and crashes. So we're excited to bring that to you. But in the meantime, we hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you on the next one.
Goodbye. Thanks for listening to this week's episode.
You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at ADHD and Me Podcast.
Our theme song is by @It'sOfBoth.
New episodes every Wednesday.
We will see you there, or we will see you on another time.